Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Hope you're all having a great day today. Today we have a giant, massive box here. Obviously, it's a new guitar. Just Amazon does this thing where they send them in massive boxes. So we are going to go ahead and unbox this, kind of give you my first impressions, give you some tones and all of that stuff. Before I start opening up, I do want to tell you what it's about. I made a post in my YouTube page with a link talking about this guitar. This is a Gear It guitar. That's the brand, sold through Amazon. And it was on sale from $250 for $70, including taxes. That is about a 75% discount. And it was hard for me to pass it up, and it was hard for me not to share it with you. Unfortunately, the guitar is currently sold out. They removed the link. There's nothing there right now. So who knows? It might come back. If you don't want to miss a good bargain like this in the future, then consider subscribing. I think I'm going to make it a thing where if I see really good deals, I'll just post it and hopefully you guys can catch it in time rather than wait for someone like myself to put out a review out there before you decide whether or not to earn your hard-earned money. At least with Amazon, because it's easy to return it if you don't like it. So that's enough yapping. Let's open this up, see what we got. And through the magic of editing, I might just speed some of this stuff up. Okay guys, so finally opened the box up. I see some things, so I'm going to start taking some of these out and showing them to you as we go. All right, we got some really cool things here. So we have what seems to be a pretty nice cable in comparison to the kind of cheap cable that you get with packages like this. I can also see a clip-on tuner right there. I'll put close-ups, a strap, and some guitar picks. As you can see there, celluloid guitar picks. So that's all cool. We'll try this stuff out. And then bunch of foam. The guitar comes in a bag. And the bag seems to be pretty decent. Comes in this Gear It bag with the letters in green. I think that looks pretty cool. This is very similar to the ChromaCast bag that they sell for about $30 if you're familiar with it. Just judging from what I'm seeing right now. See if there's anything else there. Nope. Do we have anything here? Nope. Okay. Moment of truth. This is supposed to be an LP style guitar with P90 single coil pickups. So that's pretty interesting for $70. Let's see if that's what we get. It's got a nice weight to it. I like to guess it's heavy. Probably 8.5 pounds. We'll throw it on the scale and we'll see what's about if I got it. There we go. Here's the guitar in all its glory. It does have two P90 pickups and some dust there at the headstock. There we go. Yeah, nice little headstock design. We got some vintage style kind of close-on tuners there. A nut that I think is sort of a synthetic bone. So that's interesting. You got your P90 pickups. They seem to be pretty low, so we're going to have to raise those. 2 volume, 2 tone pots, a pickguard. This is pretty classy. Now it is a bolt-on neck. I saw some people make comments about that. It's $70. How are you really going to complain about that? To me, it's a different thing, right? It's a different vibe. It'll give you a different tonal characteristic. Yeah, I won't go too much into that. And then, yeah, the description said that it had the rounded fret ends, and I am seeing those. So really impressive for $70. It's kind of mind-blowing, honestly, that I'm getting all this guitar for $70. Yeah, first impressions seem to be pretty good. The action, way out of tune. The string height seems to be pretty good. Okay, some fret bust in the first few frets. We'll probably have to adjust the truss rod. So yeah, first impressions, a build quality seems to be, just looking at the neck pocket fit, the binding, all this stuff. I'll put close-ups if I find anything that I don't call out right now. Yeah, the build quality seems to be pretty good. It kind of reminds me of the Latitude guitars that I saw as far as like the paint job goes. It's not perfect. I am seeing some areas where there's a little bit of splatter, but for the most part, it's pretty nice. The fretboard is really dry, so we're gonna have to put some lemon oil on that. I don't know if you guys can quite appreciate that, but that's one thing to call out. The nut seems to be cut. I've seen better. Might need some work there, but yeah, for the most part, it seems to be pretty solid. Again, $70. And then the binding is really clean, so that's impressive. The frets look great, which is impressive. So honestly, first impressions, pretty good. Let's go ahead and put this on the table. I'm going to take a closer look just to see if there's anything I missed right now for my initial first impression. A couple notes I want to make. Like I said before, those pickups are very, very low. You can kind of see that right there. So they need to come up a little bit. One other thing I want to call out is the routes seem to be pretty clean. Now, it's hard to get a good visual on the camera, but as you can see, preliminarily, it looks pretty clean. We'll take off the electronics cover and all that just to see what it's like there. But even the neck pocket, it's not the tightest fit. There is a small gap there. But for the most part, it appears to be pretty clean. Again, that might be the camera playing tricks on you. It's relatively tight. So the grain on the guitar looks pretty nice. So there's that. And then the knobs feel pretty good. There's nothing going on with the knobs here. Hopefully you guys can see what I was talking about, the fretboard being pretty dry. Although it is pretty neat. So there's not a lot of debris or anything on it. Here's a better look at the headstock. Again, it's a pretty neat design. One other thing you can see is the nut isn't cut super well. It's kind of rough in that first, second string. Honestly, all 6 of them, but height-wise, doesn't look too bad. So I think we can make that work. There is some fret bust going on in the first few frets, but the fret looks like it needs a truss rod adjustment. So that should fix it. I'm going to get to work now and then come back and show you guys the final result. Now we've set up this guitar and it is ready to play and it's perfectly in tune, as you can hear. And I've got some observations, but for now, let me give you some tones and then we'll go over some of the things that I found while I was setting this guitar up. Okay guys, so now that I've given you some tones, we've set this guitar up, I spent some time with it, I want to go over some of the positives that I like, as well as some of my findings and some of the things I didn't like or had issues with. And then we'll talk about how this guitar stacks up to others in its price range. I'm talking about the normal price that it typically is listed for, as well as how it works out for what I paid for. And the first positive, I want to go over the positives first. And the first positive that I want to go over is the accessories you get included. Now, it's not necessarily a big deal, but it's nice to get some stuff that is actually usable. I'm wearing the strap right now. As you can see, works perfectly fine. And then I have the clip-on tuner right now, and it works pretty good. It's pretty simple to use. If your guitar is out of tune, it'll show you a blue screen. And then as you tune it up, it'll turn green, letting me know that I'm in tune. So pretty simple, works, so that's nice. There's also a bag. I do want to take a step back because I made a comment about the back being comparable to the ChromaCast bag, this bag right here. But the padding's actually much thinner. I was kind of thrown off by the wrap that the guitar had, or that the guitar came in inside the bag, making it seem like it was thicker. But when I took that foam bag out of the guitar, I realized it's a lot thinner. It's still better than like those super cheap dust covers that you get, but it's probably a next step up. But hey, it's an accessory. We get the clip-on tuner. We also get a nice quality cable right here. I haven't actually used this, but it does look like it's pretty good quality. I'll put a message on the screen if it doesn't work or something like that. We get some picks, and I forgot to call this out, but we also get a pair of strings. So it's a pretty complete package for a guitar that's, relatively affordable. And so that's the first positive. The second positive, I got to talk about the finish. I think the finish looks lovely. It's very pretty, and it's great to also get a guitar with P90s in this price range because you don't see that too often. It's typically either a 3 single coil Strat or a double humbucker guitar. So it's nice to get something different for a relatively affordable price. Another thing that I like is the frets. We have those round ends. Some people think they're a gimmick and don't like them. The reason why I like them is for cheap guitars anyway. It typically means no sharp frets. So I'll take that. And for what it's worth, the frets are actually relatively level. There are some that are high, but in this price point, it's at least on par with what I expect. Now we're going to move on to the things that I don't like and things that I discovered as I was setting the guitar up. Today is Tuesday. I started recording this video on Sunday. That's because it took me a while to set this guitar up and get it to play right. And part of the reason why is the tension on the neck wasn't set properly, so I needed to adjust the truss rod. Not a huge deal, but the intonation was way, way off, and I couldn't get it perfect no matter how hard I tried. I've got it almost perfect, but the G string won't intonate, and I've got it all the way down. It just won't give me any more. It's fine. It's perfectly usable as it is, but, that kind of sucks. Another thing is the nut wasn't cut too well, which doesn't help our tuning issues. The guitar does hold tune relatively well, all things considered, but that could be improved upon. The tuners look nice. They aren't terrible quality, but they're not great either. The thing that I had the biggest issue with, we'll talk about two things. One is a simple fix. The other one isn't so much. The pickup height is very bad on this guitar. It's correct on the next single coil, or P90, as you can see. It's close to where it needs to be. The bridge is way off. There's two reasons as to why that is. Number one, it's just off. Needs to be raised. The way that you can do that is you can cut some foam and put it under the P90. There's actually foam that comes in the box, so it's almost like it was meant to be. The other reason is the neck angle. Some of these guitars, from what I've been seeing, have a neck angle that just makes it to where you can kind of see that higher than it should be. There's also an issue with this neck, which unfortunately is the reason why this guitar is going to go back. It's really hard to capture in the camera. But if you look at the end of the neck, you're going to see the end of the neck goes this way, whereas the rest of the neck is straight. So it's almost like that could be fixed, but it's almost like it's warped at the very end. And so there are some ways to go about it, but it's not worth my time for an $80 guitar. When I got this guitar, I was hopeful that it would be pretty usable, pretty playable, and that I could work on it and just use it as a guitar to kind of like try out new things or things that I haven't done in a long time. Like relicking a guitar, refinishing a guitar, refretting a guitar, all that stuff. But when it comes to neck issues, I don't really mess around with it. There are ways to fix this. I just don't want to invest the time or money in it, and I don't think for my particular case it's worth it. However, I do want to make a note here. This is the only geared guitar that I've ever tried. And the reason why I'm saying that is that typically when I do guitar reviews, I try to get my hand on multiple examples of the same exact guitar before I put out a video review out there, which is why I have so many guitars out there that I haven't done videos for or haven't uploaded. That's because I haven't had the opportunity to get another one like it or close to it, so that I can give you guys a completely unbiased opinion that's based on more than one example. Everyone is going to have, bad examples every now and then, no matter how, high end the brand is or how well known. Sire is an example, right? The brand is regarded as one of the best guitar brands for the money, which by the way, I would agree. But I got an example that wasn't up to par, and I talked about it. And I also made a follow-up video, and I also have another video pending with Sire guitars. But there was one that, kind of slipped through the cracks, and then this might also be it. Now, several people that I shared the link with and got their guitars, shared their opinions online on Facebook forums and other groups, etc. And some of them seem to have really positive experience with it. Some of them seem to have similar issues with neck angle or other issues with the guitar. So just calling that out. We got to talk about, though, if this guitar had zero issues, neck angle was straight, if intonation could be perfect and all that stuff, and maybe just needed to change the nut tuners, if even that, and some other components. Not saying that this necessarily needs that, but where would I rank it in the world? $250 guitars. It wouldn't be the worst. It definitely wouldn't be the best, because I think, again, this typically sells for $250. For that price, there's a lot of brands that I like more. There's Harley Benton. There is Firefly. There's the Earth Strat, if you want to include that one guitar that they sell in that price point. Some of the SX stuff is pretty decent. I like some of the modern price stuff, as well as I've heard good things about the Senstar brand. I haven't reviewed that brand for a specific reason yet, but who knows if that will change. And then, yeah, those are just some of the brands that I prefer more. I think they give you more value for your money. Now, if this guitar retailed $150, I think it would be pretty high up there, with its only real competition maybe being some of the stuff from Monoprice and some of the stuff from maybe like Leo James. But $150, absolutely. That's about as high as I would pay for it, assuming that everything on that is unfixable or too costly to fix wouldn't be an issue. I hope that makes sense. Words are hard. English is hard. It's not my first language. We move. Anyways, the other thing I want to talk about is the pickups. We got to talk about how the guitar sounds. I actually think the pickups sound really good, so I don't think that's something that necessarily needs upgrading. I don't think they sound amazing, but again, we're talking about a cheap guitar here. So there is that. Now, if we're valuing this based on the fact that it costs $70, honestly, even with the neck issue, like, it's not bad, right? Everything else works for the most part. I did have some fret buzz in these frets. I adjusted the truss fret to get that corrected. And again, I could fix this. It's just, not worth my time. But for $70, I mean, considering the accessories you get are at least worth $15, $20 at the very low end, it's a pretty cool guitar for the money. But I don't know if I can evaluate it based on that, because I think that's just what we would call like a loss leader. I worked in the restaurant business for like a total grand of 4 weeks. And I learned that certain restaurants will have certain items that they refer to as loss leaders. It's kind of items that they sell to make you buy other items, but they take a loss on it, or it's just cheaper than they can afford it to be, or something like that. Anyways, I think this is kind of the scenario with that, right? They're doing like this introductory crazy low price point to try to get people to buy it, to share their opinions and all that stuff, and then eventually sell them for whatever price they think is the normal pricing. But my personal opinion, I think this would rank highly in the $150 range had it had no issues. $250, maybe it'll crack a top 10, but I don't think it's gonna do so well compared to some of the other brands I mentioned. Overall, it's still a very cool mod platform, something different. It is nice if you got your hands on one, and while it was still available, because it's still not available to this point, let me know, how that worked out for you, if it worked out well or not. And if you did, and you're still curious about it, you have any other questions, drop them in the comments. And if I can't answer them, I'm sure someone else will. But yeah, that's it for the video. It's an interesting one. I'm glad I took the plunge on it. It's too bad that it has to go back, but that's what we do here. Thank you guys for joining me today. I appreciate you stopping by. And if you like this kind of content, consider leaving me a like, comment, or even better, consider subscribing, because that way you get to see more of it. I'm Raf. You've been great. I'll see you all. Have a great rest of your day.